So how many acres do you need to become self-sufficient? That's the question we're going to answer on this episode of The Drive Home. So, the question itself, well, the answer to that question is kind of complicated. And actually, before we get going, if you want to know more about off-grid living, you have more questions, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications icon so that you get notified every time I put a video up. But anyways, it's a complicated answer, complicated question. It all depends on how self-sufficient you want to be. And it also assumes that not only are you wanting to go off-grid, but you do want to become self-sufficient. So, parts of what makes it complicated are, say, like, do you need land, or do you want to hunt on your own land? Because that, you'd have to take that into consideration. And stuff like, do you want to harvest your own trees on your property for heat and, to, build whatever buildings you need to build. Now, as far as hunting goes, that is, I don't know, I'm not sure if that part of the question can really be answered. The growing trees part, I read somewhere, and I believe it is in the book Back to Basics. I'll find that book online. I'll link it up down here in the description so you can check it out. If it's not in that book, I'll put a correction down below. But I had read that if you need, say, a cord of wood a month, you would need basically 10 acres, about 10 acres of solid forest to provide you with enough wood to have a cord every single month. Now, of course, if you're in colder climates, you go through more wood, warmer climates, less. But I believe that's it. I'll double check and make sure. I'll put it down in the comments or in the description section. So there's that. And if you want to hunt on your own land, like I said, that's a really complicated thing. I'm not even sure I can answer that. You'd have to find out if the land where you're on even has wildlife that goes on it. We have a group of 5 or 6 deer that pass on our property at least once a day, in the evening time, and we have 20 acres. And, but if that's not what you want to hunt, or you're in the wrong area, you may need 100 acres. Who knows? That part's really complicated. Let's get down to more of the foreshore areas of self-sufficiency on your own land. So let's just assume, first of all, that you have a house, your garage, your shop, all of that is on 1 acre. It's plenty of land, for everything you need, your driveway, a lawn if you want a lawn, all that kind of stuff. You might be able to get away with doing it on half an acre. That may be more feasible, if you're trying to stick to a tight budget. Call that a half an acre. Then, of course, the first thing that people think of when they go off grid, they think of growing a garden. How much garden space do you need? Typically, it appears that you need to have 200 square feet of garden per person in your household. So, of course, if you have a family of 4, that's 800 square feet of garden. You might be able to cut it down if you have a nice large greenhouse and you're able to grow vegetables all winter long. You just kind of space it out. But that's kind of a general rule of thumb, 200 square feet. some years you might get a bumper crop, some years you might fall short. So at the very least, we'll call that a half an acre right there. So we got 1 acre of land right now that you'll need. And then if you want to do, say, fruit trees or something like that, that can be planted here and there. You might expand and say, 1 acre for a garden, fruit trees, whatever. I mean, get hardcore enough, have a little orchard. You've got your apples, oranges, cherry trees, all that stuff. But just for argument's sake, we'll stick it to half an acre. Maybe you can plant the trees on the north side, so it's not blocking the sunlight for the garden. Or you can even use the shade from the trees for growing certain things. You don't want lettuce to get too hot, so that may be something good to put in the shade of a tree. And then you got another thing that I've just kind of looked up. This is assuming you don't want to go to the store for flour, but you want to make your own bread and stuff like that. According to what I've read, you pretty much need, for, we'll say this is the family of 4, you'll need pretty close to an acre of land, to get enough wheat to grind it down into flour to make, just breads and, just simple stuff like that. If you want to, make cakes, if you're more of a baker, obviously you'll want more. Yeah, from what I've read, it's 1 acre of wheat will supply 6 people of food with enough flour to make loaves of bread for the entire year. And now if you're going to go a step further, you want to provide your own milk, meat, cheese, stuff like that, toss in, a couple of goats. And 2 goats, you can do a half an acre, preferably, like rotating, maybe put it in 4 sections so they can graze and forage and stuff like that on one section. Just like rotate it 4 times a year, and that'll produce the milk that you need. It may not be a whole lot of milk, but me personally, I don't drink that much milk. Probably turn a lot of it into cheeses, stuff like that. Make cheese out of goat milk, smoke it, stuff like that. Of course, if you want to sell goat milk, goat cheese, you're going to need more. That'll produce the milk that you're wanting. And of course, if you don't mind goat meat, you can also harvest the meat from the goats, as they reproduce. Or you can even use them as a little bit of source of income. You can sell the kids, meat from the goats, as they reproduce. Or you can even use them as a little bit of source of income. You can sell the kids. If you want to, get a little bit of income from that. So we'll go ahead and stop there. And so it seems like, bare minimum, you're looking at say 2.5 acres. We'll round it up and say 3 acres of land is what you need to be self-sufficient. And that's, not including growing, like rice or, stuff like that. Of course it may vary, but that'd be, a good starting point. Personally, when we were looking for land, before we picked up our 20 acres. I was looking for 5 acres. I figured 5 acres would be perfect. We even have quite a bit of area for, you know, if we wanted to get a horse or anything like that. Anyways, there you have it. We'll say 3 acres of land. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section. Go hit the subscribe button if you're liking the content. Hit the notifications icon if you want to keep up to date with all the answers. And until next time, keep kicking up dust.